Hi and welcome to RC Models, and following on from the last video which I did, which was to build this Meccano-like track loader and to build it stock and test it. I really liked it, however there was one thing that really bugged me about it, and that was the height of the bucket in the lowest setting, because it wasn't terribly good for scraping things up. I'll just show you what I mean. So if I just bring it down, so that's roughly the level setting, and as you can see I can actually put this piece of wood completely underneath it, and in the level position it's roughly 20mm or about 3/4 of an inch off the deck. So what I'm thinking is that if I design a new bucket for it, then it ought to be able to scrape things flat and actually be even more effective in use. Before I go on, there are just a couple of other things which I've already done to it which I should mention. The first is that while I was building it, I found that if the motors were mounted too tightly, none of them would turn, and this was in fact the case when I first tried it. And since building the model, in order to have the motors mounted firmly but not tightly and the nuts not undoing, what I've done is I've actually made some 3D printed 3mm plastic nuts, very similar to the ones which come with the kit, and I'm using these to hold the motors on, and it seems to be quite a good solution. So when I finish doing this video, I'll make sure that I post links in the bottom to any parts which I design, and that will include these. The other thing which I've done which is not stock is I'm actually using a different battery to the one which came supplied. Now the supplied battery was 300 milliamps and that's fine, however I did notice that mine had gone a little bit puffy. So what I did was I actually borrowed a battery from one of my model aeroplanes, and this one is 400 milliamp. If I can, I'll find a link to this, and if I remember correctly these might even come with a charger, but they weren't very expensive. It's going to give you longer running time, plus also some spare batteries, because I can tell you you're going to want to use this thing and use it. Okay, so for the next part of this video we're going to jump onto the computer. I have already tried to design a bucket. I'll show you what I've done there. We'll print it off, we'll put it on, and then we'll see what we think. In a program called Tinkercad, and this is where I do all of my designs, and if I just explain what's going on here. So first of all, if we just zoom into this area here, you'll see that there are some nuts which I've designed, and those were the nuts that I was talking about for holding the motor on much better. I did at one point think that there was a part missing from the kit that was in fact not missing, and I was able to print a spare part which is actually on the model now, but I did find the part. It had fallen down the side of the sofa, so I didn't really need to use it, so I've ended up with a spare part. Over here, these columns that you see are where I measured and I calculated the distance between each of the holes on the parts, and I was able to use this grid when making the holes in the back of the bucket, which I'm about to come to. So let's have a quick look at the bucket. So the bucket which I've designed here is basically the same shape as the bucket which is on the model originally, but I've added 20mm to the bottom so that it will scrape along the ground flat, and then these holes on the back here correspond to the holes in the original part in the model, and I actually used these parts here in order to get the right distancing, and I just literally copied this lot and then took out all of the holes which I didn't need, if you know what I mean, onto a flat plate, and then started building this as a 3D model. Okay, so the next thing to do is to print it, and I'll show you the printing just so that you can see what the printing settings are really. So I'll export it. It's here. Open up Cura. Okay, and so here we have the object ready to be printed, and for the print settings I've just really left everything default, and it'll be printed on my Prusa i3 printer, and it's printing without any support because all of the sides are vertical enough not to need any support in there. So if I just slice it, and we're printing at 100% density, so if I just slice it, you can see that it's just over a 3-hour file. And if I was to save it to file, what I would do is I would download it onto an SD card, pop that in the printer and get it printed. In order to make things easier for viewers of the channel, I have actually uploaded this into Thingiverse. There is a link at the bottom of the description where you can download the parts, and here you can see we've got the bucket and the plastic nuts, and literally you just push the download buttons and it will save the files, and then you can open them in Cura or whatever slicer you're using and print these off for yourself. Okay, let's get the bucket printed. Okay, so that appears to have finished printing. Let's have a quick look, get it off. Holes have come out alright, reasonably stiff. Right, let's give this a go and see how it fits. Okay, so it seems to be a similar shape, ending at about the same place on the top, but obviously going all the way down to the floor. The angle looks similar. I think this is going to be quite a good fit. So what I'm going to do is first of all take off this one here, which is just literally the 4 bolts. So I'll do that, then I'll be back. So we can actually easily compare these two now, and if I just line them up with each other, like so, you can see how much bigger the new bucket is. So with a bit of luck, all of the parts here will go straight onto the back of the new one there. And just before I put them on, to make the bolts go through easily, I'm going to just go through each of the holes with a 2.5mm bit, just to make it a little bit easier. Just about everything from the old bucket will go onto the new bucket. Obviously I don't need these corner side pieces because this is all made out of one piece of plastic. Okay, I'll be back when I've done that. Right, so that's all the parts off. Okay, so that's that bit done. So all I need to do now is attach this back onto the track loader, and then we should be ready for testing. Okay, I think that's all good, so let's just turn it back on again. Right. That looks good, so in the very bottom position it's not actually scraping on the ground with the bucket lifted up. Just put that there. So I can still get my ruler underneath and there's no scraping going on. And then if I lower it, just raise it a bit. Here we have the bucket absolutely flat to the ground. I can't get anything underneath it, and if I move it along, that should be good for scooping things up. Okay, so the acid test is going to be to see if it will actually scoop stuff up. First of all, I'm going to try an inside test using the wood chippings. Here goes. I think that I can call that a success from an indoors point of view. Now let's just try it on the earth outside, which is obviously more challenging. Well, I think that worked, and I think that this new bucket has proven itself. I think that with this bucket, I think my previous scoring of 8 out of 10 probably moves a lot closer to 9. Really pleased with that. Hope you've enjoyed the video. If you yourself want to print one of these buckets, just go into Thingiverse in the link below and you'll be able to do that. If you really feel that you need one of these buckets, please get in contact with me on the email shown on the screen and maybe we can sort something out. That's it for now, and until the next time, thank you very much for watching.